Hello, champions. You're tuned in to Hell Turn Inside, where WWE passion never stops. Subscribe now, and let's powerbomb through the latest updates. For months, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed looked unstoppable. They weren't just another tag team. They were a statement. Power, precision, and presence. Every week, they tore through their opponents, blending Reed's raw strength with Breaker's explosive athleticism. Fans and insiders alike believed they were building toward something historic. A dominant championship reign that could redefine SmackDown's tag division. But in one shocking, brutal moment, all of it came crashing down. The image of Braun Breaker spearing his partner. Not an opponent, not a rival, but the man who shared his corner, will be replayed for years as one of the most stunning betrayals in recent WWE memory. The unthinkable moment. SmackDown's main event seemed straightforward. The reigning champions, Breaker and Reed, defending against the Street Profits. The crowd was ready for a competitive showcase. No one expected the night to implode into chaos. The match started with everything fans had come to love about the duo. Their chemistry was seamless, their dominance clear. Then, in an instant, everything changed. Reed reached for a tag, and Braun Breaker just stood there. No movement, no response. Confusion filled the arena. Moments later, Breaker stepped off the apron and began walking away. Viewers at home and in the stands asked the same question. What was happening? Then came the final twist. Breaker returned, charged into the ring, and leveled his own partner with a thunderous spear. The crowd erupted in disbelief. It wasn't a tease. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a full betrayal. And SmackDown ended with Bronson Reed motionless on the mat and Breaker standing over him, holding both tag titles with an icy stare. Backstage tension comes to light. As the broadcast ended, fans were left with more questions than answers. But reports from backstage quickly painted a complicated picture. Multiple sources suggested that the turn wasn't part of the original plan. Instead, it appeared to be a last-minute creative shift, triggered by tension behind the scenes. For weeks, Breaker had reportedly expressed frustration with his role in the tag division. A second-generation star with immense physical talent, he felt ready for a singles run. And he wasn't shy about saying so. WWE officials, according to those close to the situation, urged patience. They wanted to continue the tag team's momentum before splitting them up naturally down the line. But Breaker wasn't interested in waiting any longer. Just hours before SmackDown went live, he allegedly made it clear that he wanted out of the team immediately. Rather than escalate the situation, WWE management reportedly gave in, approving a sudden rewrite that transformed a tag title defense into a dramatic betrayal. Bronson Reed, the unwilling victim. For Bronson Reed, the situation was a professional nightmare. Sources indicate that he learned about the turn mere minutes before walking through the curtain. With almost no time to prepare, Reed was forced to adapt in real time. A difficult task even for a veteran performer. Those close to him say he handled it with quiet professionalism, doing everything he could to make the moment work for the story, even as it undermined months of effort. Within the locker room, sympathy poured in for Reed. Known for his dedication, reliability, and humility, he's earned a reputation as one of WWE's most consistent workers. Many wrestlers were reportedly angered by how management handled the situation. Not necessarily because Breaker wanted to go solo, but because Reed's investment in the team was sacrificed without warning or proper build-up. A divided locker room. The fallout backstage has been intense. Veteran wrestlers see the incident as a dangerous precedent, that throwing a tantrum or making demands can rewrite months of storytelling. For a company that preaches discipline and teamwork, that's a troubling message. Younger talents, on the other hand, are split. Some view Breaker's move as bold self-advocacy, a performer taking control of his own career instead of waiting for creative to act. Others believe it's reckless, unprofessional, and disrespectful to the craft. That divide has deepened locker room conversations about how much input wrestlers should have in their own storylines, and where the balance lies between initiative and insubordination. The impact on the tag division. Beyond the personal drama, the betrayal leaves a gaping hole in SmackDown's tag division. Breaker and Reed were positioned as cornerstone champions, dominant heels who could elevate the belts and the teams around them. With their partnership abruptly ended, the division suddenly lacks direction. The Street Profits may inherit the titles by default, but that's hardly a satisfying conclusion. Months of investment in a dominant heel team were wiped away in one night, and the ripple effects will be felt across storylines. Without a strong anchor team, rivalries lose momentum, and rebuilding that foundation will take time WWE doesn't have before the next major event. What's next for both men? WWE now faces two urgent creative questions. What happens to Braun Breaker, and what happens to Bronson Reed? For Breaker, the company appears ready to fast-track him into a major singles push. Whether that's for the United States Championship or something even bigger, the plan is clearly to make him one of SmackDown's top villains. The question is whether fans will buy it. His betrayal created buzz, but it also alienated a portion of the audience who see it as forced and undeserved. For Bronson Reed, the path is less certain. There's talk of giving him a redemption arc, a revenge feud, perhaps, or a strong singles showing to rebuild his image. But nothing concrete has been finalized. If WWE mishandles his follow-up, Reed risks being forgotten, another talented performer sacrificed to serve someone else's momentum. A reflection of WWE's bigger problem. What happened on SmackDown isn't just about one betrayal. It's about what it represents. WWE's greatest eras were built on stories that made sense. Long-term rivalries, slow-burn tension, payoffs that felt satisfying. Lately, too many major moments feel improvised, catering to short-term noise instead of long-term trust. When fans invest months into a story, only for it to be discarded overnight, they start to stop believing. And when performers realize that backstage leverage can outweigh professionalism, the creative structure weakens from within. WWE can still course-correct, but only if it returns to storytelling that respects both its talent and its audience. The real betrayal. When Braun Breaker turned on Bronson Reed, it wasn't just a betrayal between two wrestlers. It was a betrayal of what made their partnership special. Teamwork, balance, and shared ambition. It was a betrayal of the audience who had invested in their rise. And, in a broader sense, it was a betrayal of creative integrity. Reed deserved better than to be blindsided for the sake of one performer's impatience. Breaker deserved better than to have his next chapter tainted by controversy. And the fans deserved a story that meant something. Wrestling thrives on emotion, betrayal, revenge, redemption. But only when those emotions come from storytelling that earns them. What SmackDown delivered instead was a flash of shock that left more confusion than excitement. The aftermath, as fans debate online and the locker room simmers, one thing is clear. This moment will define the near future of SmackDown. Whether it becomes the start of a powerful new chapter or a cautionary tale about impatience depends on what WWE does next. If they double down on quick fixes and shock turns, the damage to credibility may deepen. But if they take this chaos and shape it into something meaningful, giving Bronson Reed his redemption, allowing Breaker's heel persona to evolve organically, then perhaps something good can emerge from the wreckage. For now, though, fans are left processing the same mix of shock, frustration, and reluctant fascination. Because in the end, that's what betrayal does. It shakes faith, it stirs emotion, and it leaves everyone asking, what just happened?